Many of you know that I've become a grandfather 2 weeks ago. My daughter Yael and her husband John live in Berlin, so I've been there for a few days. I had the great joy to be there just a couple of days after the baby was born and for the Brit Milah, and then I came back. The baby is not yet 2 weeks old, and I have hundreds of photos in my phone. And they come every hour. And at the end of the day, I just sit in my phone and watch the photos and some of the movies. It's an amazing experience to be far and yet to be so close. And I talk to the baby on FaceTime. I talk to him, he doesn't talk to me yet. It's amazing. When my daughters were born, my parents in Argentina and my in-laws in Israel, we had to send them pictures in the mail. They received them weeks later. Most of us are old enough to remember the magic of the Polaroid camera. It was amazing. All of a sudden, somebody took a picture and the picture just came out. You peeled it. You had to wait for a couple of minutes, and then you peeled it off, and there was a photo. That was invented in 1948. In 1963, it was the color Polaroid. It was magic. And since then, we have been increasingly surrounded by devices that produce the things that we want in no time. Email, microwave ovens, electric kettles, digital thermometers. We don't have to wait. Those things are by now old, because now we have artificial intelligence. I'm a new convert to artificial intelligence, which can execute complicated computations, process and analyze enormous amounts of data in milliseconds or even faster, in nanoseconds. Anybody knows what a nanosecond is? It's 1/1000th of a second. Process amazing, enormous amounts of data. So we live in a world of instantaneity. We want immediate results now. If not, we get frustrated if we have to wait. But there are certain things which cannot be obtained in an instant. Wisdom, expertise, character development, self-knowledge, deep relationships, resilience, artistic talents. Those are some of the things that take time to develop and to mature. In the Talmud, Rava claims that one does not fully understand one's teacher until 40 years have passed. One doesn't understand one's teacher in whatever discipline until 40 years have passed. Rava's teaching is attached to a few verses at the end of this week's Parashat. I invite you to open on page 1158 in the Chumash. Just going to read a couple of verses. 1158. Moshe summoned all Israel and said to them, "You have seen all that Adonai did before your very eyes in the land of Mitzrayim, to Pharaoh and to all his courtiers and to his whole country. The wondrous feats that you saw with your own eyes, those prodigious signs and marvels. Yet, to this day, Adonai has not given you a mind to understand, or eyes to see, or ears to hear. ולא נתן אדוני לכם לב לדעת, ועיניים לראות, ואוזניים לשמוע, עד היום הזה, until this day. This is Moshe's last speech, which ends in a couple of parashiot, the entire Torah narrative. And he has just spoken to the children of Israel of the great signs and wonders that their eyes have seen, that they have experienced and witnessed. And he repeats the expression that your eyes have seen. And the problem is that they didn't understand what they were seeing. They didn't always know what is it that they were seeing. They were seeing, but they didn't know what they were seeing. Until later, many, many years later. A lot of what they saw didn't even make it into their consciousness. It just stayed stored in their eyes. What is it that they didn't see? Rashi says what they didn't see or they didn't understand was God's love for them. They didn't understand God's love for them, and they didn't have a sense of gratitude because they didn't understand what they were seeing. They didn't have the emotional intelligence to fully understand that would then generate in them a sense of gratitude and reverence for God. So they just took what they saw, as we say in colloquial Hebrew, stam, just like that. Consciousness is a process. Maturation is a process, it's not something instant, like the Polaroid camera or all the devices we have today. And it says here, you have not had a mind to understand, or eyes to see, or ears to hear, until this day, to this day. Till this day can mean two things. Till this day you have not understood means you still don't understand. Or it means till this day you didn't, now you do. And that was part of their process of maturation. Rashi says, God has not given you a heart to know, to recognize God's loving acts and to cling to Him till this very day. This day, I understand that you do cling to God, says Moshe. In other words, now there's a shift. This day, I understand that you cling to God and that you desire God. There's a shift, there's a transformation on this very day. Aviva Zornberg says here, the subject is not so much the people's moral development as their passionate vision of God's love and their emotional capacity to love God in return. Moshe criticizes the people for their insentience and implicitly celebrates the radical turn in their relationship to God this very day. In other words, now they do understand. This day, there's something that shifts, something unlocked in their emotional intelligence, and now they're able to understand. Gratitude and love are now within the range of religious experience. Rashi says, speaking in Moshe, as Moshe, now I understand that you desire God. Something finally touches them into being capable ultimately of knowing from the heart. On that day, so what happened on that day? What was it that triggered this shift, that opened their eyes and their heart to understand the experience that they had over the past 40 years? A couple of parshiot later, a couple of chapters later, in Parashat Vayelech, the Torah tells us that when Moshe put down in writing the words of this teaching, of this Torah, to the very end, Moshe charged the Levites who carried the Ark of the Covenant of Adonai, saying, take this book of the Torah, take this teaching, and place it beside the Ark of the Covenant of Adonai your God, and let it remain there as a witness against you. Rashi says, I have heard that on that day, when Moshe gave the Torah to the Levites, all Israel came before Moshe and said to him, our teacher Moshe, we too stood at Sinai and accepted the Torah. It was given to us too. Why do you give it to the people of your tribe to control it? That they may tomorrow say to us, it was not given to you, but just to us. Moshe rejoiced at this matter. And in reference to this, he said to them, this day you have become the people of Adonai your God. Meaning, only this day I have come to understand that you're attached to God and have a desire for God. That's what made the shift. When they saw that the Torah was given to the Levites, they said, no, we want it too. And something shifted in them at that very moment. They arrived, at that moment, was it a process of 40 years of development of the emotional intelligence that was able to then open the heart and the eyes, or was it just a radical turn? I think it was both. And I want to use this model of a process that then is followed by a radical shift to spend a few moments thinking about the process of Teshuvah. We're in the month of Elul. Many of us have already been engaging in soul searching. We have been reflecting. We've had realizations and insights. We've sought to understand ourselves at a deeper level. Consciousness is a process, and we've been on that path of deep thinking. After we're done with the excuses and the justifications, with blaming others, it's my parents, it's my children, it's the neighbor upstairs, it's the government, it's my boss, After we're done, we experience discomfort and profound regret about some of the things we have done, about our behavior, about the person we've become. And then there's a moment when we realize it's up to me. I can't expect anybody else to do it for me. I can't blame anybody else. It's nobody else's fault. It's me. Change, it's up to me. There's a process of thinking and reflecting and searching, and then there's a moment when we know we desire something else for ourselves. And there's a decision. I'm stepping up, or I'm stepping back. It's a moment of shift, a turning point, a radical shift that follows the process, and then there's a moment when we turn. The Rambam, Maimonides, says, Teshuvah is not tikkun of the past. It's not a repair of the past. It's not just remorse about the past. Teshuvah is a change of direction for the future. The essence of Teshuvah is the choice to free ourselves from the past, to make a radical shift in a different direction in the future. An acknowledgement of the truth that leads us in one moment to change our way. The acknowledgement of the truth is a process. The decision to change our way is in an instant. A recognition of our responsibility, our accountability, and an embracing of our freedom. because we are free to change. Ad hayom hazeh, until this very day, says Moshe, you have not seen, you have not understood, until this very day, up to here. And we say also, up to here, and then we embrace a different future. And then there's a decision, and a movement forward in a different direction. So here in Teshuvah, these polar opposites, process of maturation, of consciousness, and the radical shift. How do things happen? Is it a process? Is it a radical shift? Here they come together. The process and the decision in one moment to shift. And then comes the shift. We are 1.5 weeks before Rosh Hashanah. There's another 1.5 weeks to continue the process. And then at some point, hopefully, during Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur, there are going to be moments of decision. I can't continue this way. I have to change this or that in my life. I have to shift. I have to go in a different direction. I can't make a tikkun of the past. I can't erase it. But I certainly can live a different way in the future. I want to refer to a beautiful kavanah that Felicia gave last night. She spoke about the fact that we've been experiencing a year of tears. And she said that tears are seeds. They go into the ground, these tears, and they plant in the ground the possibility of something new. And so I want us to think not only of the things we want to change, but also at the things we want to grow. The new things we want to grow with the tears of this year and the heartbrokenness of this year. Not only the things we want to leave and change, but the new things we want to bring about. It's been a really hard, difficult, intensely painful year in so many ways, and some things are not going to change in the near future. But we have agency over our lives. There are things we can leave, and there are new things we can embrace. We can sow with our tears and with our joys, with aspirations and our dreams. Hopefully, a new path, a better path, a more meaningful path, a deeper path for the year ahead. I wish all of us a meaningful process of teshuvah, a meaningful and productive holidays that will bring for us, for all of us, many good things in the year to come. Shabbat Shalom.